Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And today I am so excited to share with you the adorable Cactus Cuties bundle from the Stampin' Up! January to June mini catalog. Now this is a bundle that I have had for months and it has been sitting unloved on my shelf. I know, shame on me, but sometimes life gets in the way. And so I finally this week was able to pull out this adorable bundle and have a good play with it. And I absolutely love it. It's just so much fun. So I'm going to share 3 cute Cactus Cuties projects with you today. And I'm also going to sneak peek the new in colors and a couple of other new upcoming products. Now, speaking of upcoming products, we are only 1 week away from the launch of the brand new, nope, that's the old one, the brand new, excuse me, annual catalog. Now, that catalog goes live 1 week from today on May the 3rd, okay? This catalog, the current 2021-22 annual catalog, the last day to order from that catalog and pick up the retiring items, your last chance items, is Monday, May 2nd. So we only have 6 more days left to order from that catalog. Now, because next week is a special week, it's our launch, I am going to be live during prime time at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. So there's no live at 5. It's going to be live in prime at 7 p.m. For my live launch party. So I will be posting all about that this week, but I hope you plan to join me. Set a reminder for 7 o'clock next Tuesday. No live on at 5, but my live launch party on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, I see lots of people are joining me. So let me just pull up my video here on my iPad. Come on. There it is. Play. There we go. It was thinking about it for a really long time. All right, we've got Krista and Holly and June. Hi, Diane. Hi, Penny. Hi, Debbie. How are you all? I hope you're having a great day. Hi, Joyce. I just saw your name pop up. Hello, Connie. Oh, I'm excited for the new catalog too. There are so many awesome products. I have a very long wish list of things that I want to get. So I am pretty darned excited to start ordering and get my hands on some new goodies. So let me flip the camera. I'm going to show you the bundle that I'm working with today, and then we're going to get to some stamping, okay? So give me a minute to do the old flipperoo here. I may have to do a flip and twist, actually, because the arm of this was turned a different way than it normally is. Hi, Sharon. Thanks for joining me live. I'm happy you caught me. Very excited to have you joining me. Let me just make sure this is visible. Hi, Kathy. How are ya? Good to see ya. Okay, so here we go. We have the Cactus Cuties bundle. Now, this is not in the outgoing annual. This is in the mini catalog, which is good until the end of June. There's been a lot of confusion with the changeover from annual catalogs. A lot of people kind of think that this one is going away at the same time. It is not, okay? This is still around for another couple months. You're going to see me using products from this catalog along with ones from the new annual for the next couple of months, okay? So this bundle is on page 66. Easy to miss, again, because it's not part of a suite. It's just a standalone bundle. But oh my goodness, is it ever cute. And is it ever reasonably priced? It's only $43 for the stamp set and coordinating punch. So speaking of those, here's our stamp sets. Some awesome photopolymer images, really solid images, which makes for really fun sort of graphic design projects. And then we have some sort of fun, funky font sentiments. And then we have the coordinating punch. So this is a Cactus Builder punch. Again, many of the images from the stamp set coordinate with a punch, but then there are others that we are just going to fuzzy cut because we can. All right, so here we go. Let's get those out of the way. And we are going to get rolling. Sorry, my voice is a little croaky today. Actually, I'm going for another scope at McMaster here in Hamilton. Well, not here, in Hamilton, here in Ontario, tomorrow. So I'm really hoping that they have some answers for me and a plan for getting my voice back. All right, so our first project is this one. I posted this yesterday. Kind of an earthy look. I wanted to show different looks with this set. So this one is kind of an earthy, kind of a little bit more subdued. Well, you see the other two. They're much brighter. But to start, we are going to sort of build our background here. So I have 2 pieces of DSP. These are both from the Tropical Layers, Artistic Layers, that's what it is. I should have these names written down. DSP. So it's got these fun sort of tropical patterns on the back. We're going to use this side because I thought it worked really well with cactus, right? It's kind of got that sort of look. And then this is another piece from the same DSP pack. So this one is cut to 5 1/4 by 4. And then this one is 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. So 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. All right. So this is going to get glued 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom. So we're going to grab our trusty Stampin' Seal. Now, if you are like me and have been waiting for Stampin' Seal to come back in stock, the refills, they are available. So if you have been rationing your adhesives, it is back in stock. Happy, happy day. So you can go ahead and reorder if you need to. Okay. All right. While we're working on this, we're going to add our twine. So I have here just some linen thread. Again, I wanted kind of an earthy look, so I felt like the linen thread was a good option in terms of embellishment here. So I'm going to just add a glue dot on the back side on either end of my card front here. Then I'm going to take and fold my twine. So I kind of have 2 layers. I'm going to press one end into a glue dot, run it across the front of my card, and then press the other end into a glue dot and give it a trim. Sorry about my voice today, guys. Been doing lots of talking at school today. All right, so there we go. There's our twine. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and glue that onto our card base. We're using a Crumb Cake cardstock base. It's 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we'll just fold that in half along our score line and crisp it up with our bone folder. Oh, Tracy's here. Hi, Claire. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Deb. Hi, Sue. Hi, Judy. Thank you all for tuning in today. We are all about the Cactus Cuties bundle from the mini catalog. And I was saying at the top of the video, I'm ashamed to admit that this has been living unloved on my stamp shelf since, January. Far too long. All right, so I'm finally pulling it out and showing it a little love. So we're going to set that aside for now. And I have here a die cut circle. Now you may be thinking, wow, Lena doesn't usually use retired product in her videos. And you would be right. Lena doesn't use retired product in her videos. This is not the retired Stitch Shapes dies. This is the brand new, available May 3rd, Stylish Shapes dies. So if you missed out on the Stitch Shapes, which were my go-to dies for a really long time before they retired last year, this is almost an adequate replacement. I love these dies. They're not as awesome as Stitch Shapes, but they're pretty darn close. So this is, the stitching on these is a little bit different. On the Stitch Shape dies, I'm not sure how well it shows. I'm going to hold it up to the camera. On the Stitch Shape dies, we had sort of like little dashes around the edges. On these ones, we have little holes. Can you see those? I'm just holding that up for a second. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. So these ones are a little bit different, but again, add that extra little bit of interest to our images. Or sorry, to our die cuts to make them just, you don't need another layer, right? You just got that extra little bit of detail. So we're going to do some stamping right on the die cut. I'm pulling out all of my dies. I have them all in one little bin here because or not dies, all of my stamps because I'm using a ton of them today. And I'm also using a ton of ink colors. So we are going to start with some Pear Pizzazz ink and this sort of double-pronged cactus, for lack of a better word, this one here. Okay, now this one does not have a coordinating shape on the punch, so we're just going to stamp right on this die cut. And no, it's not half done, Nicole, not even close. I just started with my background, okay? All the hard work is going to be done right now, so you haven't really missed much. We just glued some layers together, so you're good. All right, so I'm going to ink up this stamp. Now, when you are using these photopolymer stamps, you absolutely need to use a soft surface underneath your cardstock that you're stamping on. These are very hard stamps. They're not soft and squishy, even though they look like they should be. and they have no give. So if you are working on a work surface that isn't perfectly flat, and let's be honest, most tables are not, unless you're stamping on marble, you're going to want to use some kind of something with a little give behind it. Okay, so I'm using a Stampin' Pierce mat. I'm going to ink up my stamp. Now, another little tip, when you are inking stamps like this that have a lot of real estate, I'm just going to bring this over more into the camera range. You don't just want to go squish and stamp, because I'm not sure how well you can see, but the center of this stamp is not very well inked at all. So we kind of want to stamp all over the ink pad, okay, because we want to get nice, even coverage here. So I'm just kind of squishing all over. And now we're going to go ahead and stamp our image on our cardstock. So I'm going to do this sort of, it's going to look like it's floating at first, but we're going to ground it with some other images that we're going to add. Okay, and then we get a beautiful, solid looking image. Now we also have this adorable little sort of attachment for our cactus. So we're going to add one of those. So same thing, I'm just going to kind of tap, tap, tap all over my pad. And I'm going to stamp this on this sort of shorter arm of my cactus like that. Okay. All right. So that is our Pear Pizzazz cactus. So we're going to kind of set that ink pad out of the way so that we don't crowd our space here. I got too many things on the go. All right. So we're going to set this one aside, and then I'm going to bring in some scrap paper because we're going to do a bunch of stamping and punching. Now, when you are stamping with a builder punch and you're going to punch images out, you are better to use little scrap strips than one big sheet. Do you know why? Because, like, for example, if I'm trying to punch out this little flower, it's way down here, right? So if I go to stamp on a big sheet of cardstock and I put my cardstock in, I'm going to punch out all of these shapes, even though I don't want them. Okay, so when you use little narrow strips, it's easier to conserve cardstock and control where you are punching. Okay, all right, that's my little public service announcement for today. Okay. So we are going to stamp this guy next. Now I need my Garden Green ink. Man, my throat is croaky. And we're going to bring in our sort of little chubby cactus. And so same deal, I'm going to ink this up. Now, another tip is to check to see which way the punch image is in your punch. So I hold my punch this way to punch, right? So it's going to come in, my cardstock is, the easiest way to do it is to come in from the side like this, right? So I want to think about stamping my image close to the right side and right side up so that it feeds into the punch nicely, okay? So let's actually use that piece. Oh, this pad's a little on the dry side. We may not get the greatest image here. Okay, that's not bad. All right, so same thing. This is going to be a little bit mottled because it's not a super, super juicy punch. So then I'm going to bring in my punch, slide my cardstock in. And now the other thing that I actually really like about this punch is that it doesn't leave a border. Okay, I like that it punches like right into the image so that you don't get a white border on this one. Okay, so that's that one. Now I'm going to bring in this narrower piece and we're going to use this smaller little attachment for our cactus. Now this guy is at the top and he's upside down. So I'm actually going to stamp this one. If I can find a spot on my ink pad that actually has ink, I really need to re-ink this. I thought about doing it before the video, but then I thought, well, sometimes having a super juicy pad is not so good either. So I opted to go with a less juicy pad and re-ink afterwards. Okay, so there are my two sort of little attachments for my cactus. Hi Cheryl, how are you? And then I'm going to slide this in the top of my punch and punch one. Okay, I'm going to trim this little bit off and then punch again. Okay, and there are my two little sort of add-ons for this cactus. So we're going to go ahead and glue those. Now the easiest way to glue these is just with a glue dot. I did have glue dots here. There they are. So I'm going to put one glue dot sort of behind the top edge of my little punch cactus here. And we're going to add this guy just up here. Okay, and then this guy is going to get added on top of him. So again, another glue dot, another little addendum or attachment to our cactus. Okay, so there's that guy. The other thing that we're going to stamp and punch are our little pots. So the pots are this image. I'm going to get the garden green out of the way. So we're going to stamp two. We're going to do one in Pale Papaya and one in Calypso Coral. So again, I'm going to really pay attention to where I am stamping. So this one is kind of coming in from the other side, right? So it's going to slide in this way. So this time I'm going to stamp with my bowl sort of on its side. Again, tappity tap, tap, tap all around to get good coverage. And we're going to do it this way. Okay. And then we're going to slide that in and punch. Okay, there's one bowl. The other, I'm going to actually, what am I going to do? I'll do it on this guy. I don't need to clean my stamp because I went with the lighter shade first. I actually thought ahead for a change. And so I'm going to use my Calypso Coral. Same deal. We're going to ink this guy up. I'm going to stamp it right here. There is a cat hair on my stamp. Oh, it didn't transfer too badly. That's not so bad. Sometimes I get cat hair stuck to my stamp and you have this nice little line where the hair is. Thank you, Stella and Phoebe. They are shedding like crazy right now with the warm weather. We had a nice warm day on Sunday and oh my goodness, it kicked the shedding into high gear like crazy. All right, so that is it. Oh, we need to stamp and punch our little flowers. So our little bitty flowers are here. We're gonna use the same two shades of ink. So we're gonna use Pale Papaya. And I'm going to use this narrow little bit. So we're going to do one down here. Actually, was that smart? Nope, that was not smart. I'm going to flip that over. Again, because this is down here, I want to slide my narrow strip in so that I'm not wasting a whole bunch of cardstock, right? If I had done it this way, the way I had originally stamped it, that would have wasted a whole lot of cardstock. So we don't want to do that. So we are going to slide it this way and near the top. And then we're going to put it in and punch. Oh, that wasn't so smart either. Holy cow. I'm having trouble with my spatial reasoning today. Okay, it's got to point the other way. It's got to point down. It's got to go this way. There we go. That's better. We'll get that centered. Punch that little guy out. So there's one little flower. And we're going to do one more with the coral. These little guys are so fun to stamp. When I was making these cards, I just stamped and punched a whole bunch of the different shapes just to kind of have them to play around with, and then just picked and chose. That's one thing that I really like to do when I'm designing. It's just stamp and cut a whole bunch of things and then play with them. So there is my coral flower. All right, now we're ready to start building. So we have our cactus that we built. That is going to get planted in a coral bowl. So the easiest way to do that is to just run a little bit of tape or some liquid glue along the bowl, and we'll just kind of plant our cactus in there, just like that. Okay, and then we're going to add a little papaya flower to that. So again, I'll add a glue dot, and we're just going to kind of add that to the end, just like that. Okay, so there is that guy, and it's going to kind of get positioned sort of off to the side a little bit. Our flower is going to be kind of growing off the circle, but that's okay. So we are going to actually, you know what? I'm not going to do that yet because I almost forgot to trim my circle. So what we are going to do is trim. Do you see how my circle kind of hangs off the edge? I trimmed off a little bit of the excess. So what I'm going to do actually, because I've already glued my DSP on, I'm just going to flip this over, and I'm going to use the edge of my cardstock as a guide, making sure that I'm cutting the right side and that it's straight. Let's just think about that for a minute. There we go. Now, normally I would do this with a trimmer, but I don't have my trimmer handy, so we'll just do this with snips. Okay, just like that. So then that is going to get glued onto the front of our card like that. Okay, and then we can build our pieces on. So let's go ahead and do that. Now I'm going to take care to not glue this one side of the circle yet, because I'm going to be tucking my sentiment banner in there. So we're just going to stick this on right about there. Okay, and then that needs a little bit more glue on the bottom. So just a touch of liquid glue under there. Come on, there we go. All right, so now we can go ahead and add our cute little cactus here. So I'm going to add just a couple of minis along the top so that it stays nice and secure. And this guy is going to go on just sort of here off to the side. I just want to take care that he's not like extending right off the card, right? Because we want to be able to get this into an envelope eventually. Okay, so there's that guy. Our little coral flower is actually going to be growing from our stamped cactus at the back. So I'm just going to add a little teeny dab of liquid glue here. And I'm just going to plunk this little guy on. So he's going to be growing at the top of this guy. Maybe we'll do this one a little bit straighter. There we go. Just like that. Okay, now the last one we have to do is this sort of, almost looks like an aloe plant. And for this one, we need to stamp, and we're actually going to do a little bit of fussy cutting. Detail cutting, not fussy cutting, right? So I'm going to bring in my old olive ink, and I need to stamp this image twice. So I'm going to ink once and stamp it here. And I'm going to ink again. This time I really only need 2 out of the 3 branches, so I'm not going to worry too much about getting all 3 leaves on there. And then we're just going to take real quick and fussy cut these out. These are not hard to do. And I am going to leave a little bit extra on the bottom to make it easier to glue it into the pot. Okay. Now you'll notice normally when I fussy cut, I leave a little border, but because I want this to look kind of cohesive with the other punched cactus images, I'm actually going to cut right up to the stamped image and not leave a white border. Okay, because as you'll recall, I was saying when the punches, we don't have that white border with this particular punch. Okay, so there's one. Okay, and then we're going to cut these 2. I'm not going to worry about that 3rd leaf. I'm just going to cut these guys off. Get rid of all that excess. These are super easy and quick to cut. You don't have to be super careful. They're really solid images as well, so it's easy to see where the edge of the image is. Okay, so these 2 are going to get kind of glued behind the 3 just to make the plant look a little bit fuller. So I'm just going to take a glue dot and add it to that extra little bit that I left on the bottom. And we're just going to kind of center it between the 3 there like that. Okay, and then I'm going to add a little bit of seal to the back of my pot, and we're going to plant this guy just like that. Okay, so then this guy is going to tuck in behind this one, and I'm going to put them at slightly different levels. I don't want them to look, you know, like they're sitting on a shelf. I kind of want them to look like they're sort of haphazard. So I'm going to add a couple of dimensionals here, and then a mini or 2 here, just again, so that stays adhered. And we'll get rid of our backings and pop this on, tuck him behind, just like that. Okay, all right, we're almost there. We're going to stamp our sentiment. We have this die cut. So this again is from that same Stylish Shapes die set. So it is one that should go on your must-have list, to be honest, from this stamp set, or from this the new catalog. It is it's the one that I've used most since pre-order started. So what's different about this die set from the Stitch Shapes is that we have these banners in different sizes, which I love. You know, I love my banners. And I'm mourning already the loss of the Taylor Tag Punch, which I use all the time to punch my banner ends. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this. Now I'm going to have to pull this a little closer to me. I'm sorry if this goes off the camera, but I can't see if I'm stamping straight, if I'm not looking at least relatively straight down. There we go. I stamped that in early espresso ink. Okay, just for high contrast on the darker cardstock. Then I'm just going to take and trim the points off the right end of my banner. And then this is going to slide in behind my circle. Remember I said I didn't put adhesive there just yet because I wanted to be able to slide that in. So I'm just going to add a little bit of liquid glue and a little touch of glue to the ends of my banner. I'm going to slide this up and tuck it in. And hopefully get it relatively straight. And again, liquid glue is your friend when you're trying to get things adjusted and straight. Whoops, see, that didn't stay put. Let's get that straight. There we go. Okay, so that is essentially your card. We're going to add a cute little twine bow. So I'm going to bring in my linen thread. Now I want a double bow. So again, I'm doubling up my thread. I'm making one loop. I've left quite a long tail. I'm going to wrap this end around and bring it through. So I'm not tying a knot first. I'm just making a loop and wrapping it. Okay, and that's going to give me a bow that doesn't have a big knot, a big bulky knot. So then it's just a matter of adjusting your loops here until you get something you're happy with. That looks pretty good. And then we'll trim our tails here. Get rid of that. And then this is going to go on with a little, as I affectionately call it, a glue booger. I'm going to take a glue dot, roll it into a little booger of glue, and then we're just going to press the knot of our bow into that. Okay, now the last touch is some of these awesome Pebble Embellishments. Now these are also in the mini. Sadly, they are not carrying over to the annual. So these have been in and out of stock for months since the mini kind of went live. And I would really encourage you, if you love these, to pick up a couple extra packs sooner than later, because you don't know when they're going to run out and whether or not we're going to get more in before the catalog goes away. So it is one of those, these are one of those embellishments that work for so many different things. I love these. I use them all the time. So I'm going to kind of create like a pebble, I don't know, a pebble path here for my cacti to sit on. So we'll add, and the key with these little embellishments is to kind of place them at different angles and use different shapes, kind of mix it up. You don't want them all to look matchy-matchy. You want to, you know, put some sideways, some upside down. You want them to look as natural as possible. So that is the secret to success with these. I'm just going to add a couple more. We'll go one here. And we'll do one of these guys here. And I'm going to add one more sort of up here. So it looks, there we go. There is our little pebble path. Okay, so that is card number 1. I hope you like that. I know everybody is quiet. Krista, I agree. I was just thinking, oh, did they all leave? They don't like my projects tonight. They all went to have dinner instead. All right, so that is number 1. I'm just going to clean up a bit of my mess here because I have ink pads and stamps everywhere. Let's clean that up and we can move on to number 2. Okay. All right, number 2 is this cutie. Now, this sneak peeks one of the new in colors, and it's going to probably be my favorite. I love bright colors. You probably all know that about me. And the new Parakeet Party is such an awesome green. I love it. It is a party color. It's so vibrant and bright. And this card uses Parakeet Party along with a little bit of ombre stamping using Granny Apple Green. Those two colors work beautifully together. So first thing I want to talk about is this card base. I'm going to bring in the blank one so you can see what they look like. So these are in the new mini. They are from the Tea Boutique suite. You get a pack of 20 card base, 20? Yes, 20 card bases. They're in each of the 5 new ink colors, and they use patterns from a coordinating DSP pack for the suite. So this one is in the Parakeet Party. They come pre-printed. They're white on the inside, which is great. You don't have to worry about adding another layer on the inside. So we're just going to crisp this up, and that is a quick and easy way to build a card. Okay, they come pre-scored. They come with coordinating envelopes. They are just fabulous. So I folded my card base. I'm going to bring in a little bit of polished pink cardstock. This piece is cut to 1.5 by 5.5. 5.5 because it's going the full length of the card. Okay, so we're going to take and do a little bit of stamping on that. I do need to clean my little flower stamp here. I should have grabbed my chamois. Here we go. Just to make sure that's good and clean, I'm also going to clean these guys because we're going to use them in a minute as well. My chamois is in really sad looking shape, but it's still clean, so it's good. All right, so I'm going to bring in some polished pink ink to stamp on my polished pink cardstock. Okay, so we're going to do a little tone-on-tone stamping, and I'm using the little flower stamp here. And I'm just going to do a little bit of random stamping here. When you're doing this kind of look, again, you want to make sure you stamp off the edge of your paper. Okay, so it has a sense of motion. I don't need to worry about stamping the middle because it's going to get covered for the most part. So I'm just going to add a couple more random little flowers. Now you'll notice I'm not using my Stampin' Pierce mat for this image. It's a small one, so you can kind of get away with that. When you have larger photopolymer images with more real estate, that's when you need to bring in the mat. We are going to bring it in for our cacti for sure. Okay, so this is going to get glued across the front of our card. Is that not just a happy color combination? Like, oh, love it. Polished Pink and Parakeet Party. File that one away as a color combo to try. Okay, so much fun. All right, so this is going to get glued on about 1 inch up from the bottom edge of my card. So we're just going to glue that guy on and give it time to dry. All right, and again, we're going to set that aside. Now, we're going to build our background before we stamp and punch all of our cactus pieces. So I have a piece of new designer series paper. So there are so many gorgeous papers in the new mini. This, if I flip it over, has beautiful floral images. This is from the Happiness Abounds suite, or Hues of Happiness suite. And this DSP is absolutely fabulous. It's going to be my favorite. It already is. I absolutely adore it. So one side has these gorgeous hand-painted floral images. The other side has these hand-painted color washes. So this, I just cut out a section. This piece is 4 by 3 1/4. Okay, so 4 by 3 1/4, and I've got sort of 2-tone yellows here, and I thought that made sort of a sunset background for my cactuses, or cacti, I should say, not cactuses, cacti. Then I took a little bit of Kraft cardstock. So this is was in the holiday mini and is still available. I tore one edge and then embossed it using the Tasteful Textile embossing folder, which is going away in 6 days. I'm very sad about that. It's one of my favorite folders. But again, I wanted to give it just sort of like a sand-like texture. So we're going to go ahead and glue that piece along the bottom edge of our DSP piece. You'll notice I'm not putting it right up to the torn edge. That's because I'm going to be tucking my cacti in behind. I just want to leave it a little bit loose so I can get pieces in behind there. Okay. Then we're going to add some more linen thread. Again, I'm doing a double thickness. So I'm going to do the fold trick. So you could absolutely just wrap your linen thread around this panel, but I am a big fan of not wasting ribbon and trim on the backside of layers where nobody sees it. So I really like to do it this way so that I don't have twine on the back of my card, or of this panel, where nobody's gonna see it, right? Why waste it? So there we go. So there is our piece. Now we can go ahead and layer this on another Kraft cardstock piece. So this is 4 1/8 by 3 3/8. 4 1/8 by 3 3/8. We're gonna have a narrow border once we glue this on. So I'm going to use a little bit of seal and layer this guy on here, hopefully straight. Okay, just like that. Okay, this piece is then going to get glued onto the front of my card. So we are kind of building it a little bit differently than I normally do. Usually I would build everything on here and then glue it all on, but we're kind of building from the ground up on this one, and that's totally fine. So again, I'm going to add a little bit of seal. And I'm going to center this. So it's not going to have an equal border top, bottom, and sides. It's going to have an equal border top and bottom, and then an equal border side to side. Okay. So I just am using actually the stripes on my card front here to make sure this is straight. Oh, look what's on my, can you see that? Look what's on my glue dots. Should have been doing the ladybugs this week. It's actually not a ladybug, it's a Japanese beetle, but hey, we'll pretend, right? Okay, so that is our sort of base. Now we're going to do a little stamping and punching. So I've got some more scrap. I have my sort of chubby cactus here, and we are going to do a little bit of ombre stamping. So I'm going to bring in my Parakeet Party ink pad and my garden green. Okay, now these look quite similar side by side, but they actually are not even at all close. They're quite different. So keeping in mind again that when I stamp, I'm going to come in from the side like this, right? So I'm going to ink up my chubby cactus with my Parakeet Party. And then I'm going to bring in a sponge dauber and add a little bit of Granny Apple Green, just sort of around the top of my chubby little cactus here. I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat to make sure I get a nice quality image. And we're going to stamp that just like that. Oh, I got a little smudge there. I'm not liking that. Let's try that again. Good thing we have lots of scrap cardstock. Okay, let's do that again. So we're going to... The thing when you're adding ink with a dauber is you want to daub it. You don't want to smear it. When you smear it, you see that little smeary smudge there? Not so nice. So we're going to go ahead and stamp this guy once. And then we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to ink it up. Add some ink with a dauber. So this is, I'm inking with the Parakeet Party, and then I'm daubering on the Granny Apple Green. Okay, and you just get a really subtle bit of shading there, which I just love. So we're going to cut off our dud here. And then we're going to slide this into our punch. There's a one. And then we're going to do this guy. Didn't leave myself much to hold on to, but that's okay. This one's pretty easy to line up. There's two. Okay, now we're going to need one more of these. Good thing I have more scrap. I have endless amounts of scrap white cardstock. You guys are probably the same, right? Do you have lots of little scrap strips that you just don't have the heart to throw away? This is why we don't throw them away, for when we have to use builder punches. Okay, so we'll do this guy as well. There we go. All right, now we're going to go ahead and punch our little sort of attachments. I have a narrow little piece here. And if you recall, we're going to go in from the top this way, upside down. So we want to keep that in mind as we're stamping. So again, we're going to ink up with the Parakeet, dauber on a little granny, and we're going to stamp these upside down on our strip. Another one here, and one more. Should be enough. 1, 2, 3. Yep, that's all we're using. There we go. Okay. Easy peasy. We'll close these up so that we don't have a disaster, because you know there will be one if we leave them open. And then we're going to go ahead and slide these in the top of our punch and just pop these out. So there's one. Trim it off. You don't have to trim it, but you just have less pieces flying everywhere if you do that. 2 and 3. Okay, so there's all of our cactus pieces. We'll set this aside again, and we're gonna bring in all of our little cactus parts here. Okay, so for this one, I actually started with building this guy. Okay, so we're gonna do that one first. I'm gonna add a little bit of adhesive on the back side here, and we're gonna add one kind of coming out the side like that. Then I'm gonna actually take a glue dot. Oh, excuse me, Mr. Ladybug. We're gonna just, I need you to move off my glue dots for a minute. He doesn't want to move. He's still there. Look at him. He's there on the roll. Can you see him? He's inside the roll. He's like, what are you doing, woman? All right, so we're going to add this guy here. And then this guy is going to kind of hang out up above. So, I don't know. I know I need a little bit more adhesive there. Oh, now he's flying around. He's getting mad because I'm disturbing his piece here. There we go. Okay, so there is that piece. That one is going to get popped up and tucked in behind like this. But first, we're actually going to glue one of these chubby guys in behind. So we're going to add a little bit of glue here. Now think about where this one's going to go. Okay, it's going to go right about there. So this one's going to get glued up a little. Again, it's going to look like it's floating for a minute, but don't worry. We will ground it. And then we're going to add a couple of dimensionals to the back of this. Honestly, making these cactuses reminds me a little bit of like dress up dolls, you know, like paper dolls, when you could kind of play around with different parts and pieces and design a fun look. Okay. And then this one is going to go on the front and be popped just on that one corner. So I'm going to put one dimensional right there and a little bit of glue along this bottom edge. And then we're going to pop that guy on, just like that. Okay, so there is our cactus. And then we're going to add some flowers. Again, easiest way to glue these is just with a little bit of liquid glue. So I'm going to put just actually I'm going to put it on the back side. We'll put just a dab of glue there. And we're going to tuck one in here, if we can. We're gonna add one at the back, up here. And then we're gonna add one on here. This one I'm gonna put a little bit of glue just on the top edge of my cactus and glue that guy on there. Okay, so fun and easy. Now we're going to stamp our sentiment. So here is another one of the banner sizes from the Stylish Shapes dies. Okay, this is the long narrow one. There are several different sizes, but this is one that I have used the most so far. It fits a ton of different sentiments, okay, in terms of the length. It's a good length. So I'm going to ink up my Just a Note stamp, and again I'm going to have to move this a little closer so I can see what I'm doing. I didn't cut myself a backup on this one, so I got to be careful and make sure I stamp it somewhat straight. There we go, that works. And then that is going to get popped on the front of my card. I'm going to add just a bit of the border here because I can. Don't ever throw out the borders of your dimensionals. Use it all. So this is going to tuck right in about, I'm going to just lift this up a little bit so it can tuck in behind my cactus just a touch. It's going to go right about there. Okay, and then we're going to tie one more little bow here. No, they're not at all the same, Debbie. Parakeet and Granny Apple, I thought they were too. When I first saw them in the catalog, I thought, oh, they're pretty close, but nope, they're not. And I love Granny Apple green. It's kind of my favorite green because it's nice and bright. Parakeet is that much brighter. In fact, when you compare Granny Apple and Parakeet side by side, the Parakeet makes the Granny Apple look almost like Old Olive. It looks quite dark. It's really quite funny to see the contrast. So if you join me next week for my live launch party, I'll be showing you all the in colors, doing some color comparisons so you can see exactly what I'm talking about when I say that they are not the same at all. So I'm just doing another little glue booger treatment here. So we're going to add our bow, and that is that. Super simple card, and those pre-printed card bases just make it, whoa, uh-oh, I lost my flower. My flower fell off. There we go. So we're going to, the pre-printed card bases make these really quick and easy. Okay, so that is number 2. All right, are you ready for a real party card? Here is number 3. So this one is as bright a cactus card as you are ever going to see. I wanted to really highlight just how fantastic our new in colors are all together. So this card features all 5 of the new in colors. So we've got Parakeet Party, we've got Tahitian Tide, we've got Sweet Sorbet, Orchid Opulence, and our background is Starry Sky. And how fabulous do they look together, these colors? Okay, there's your Granny Apple green. Parakeet, Granny Apple. How different did those stick my ladybug on? I know, he's kind of curled up now in the corner of my grid paper, so I think he's calmed down a little. He's maybe warming himself in the light of my lights here. Okay, so let's pull these out. We're going to have a close look at some of these awesome in colors and some awesome embellishments. And yeah, we're gonna have a little fun here. All right, so I've done a bunch of this ahead of time, just in the interest of time. But oh, there he is. He just flew onto Sweet Sorbet. He must think it's a flower. It's a happy little ladybug, except I need that piece now. Go away, little ladybug. All right, so I have cut these pieces. So this is Sweet Sorbet, Parakeet Party, and Tahitian Tide using the beautiful shapes dies. So these are in the mini, these fun hexagons, and then I have embossed them using the Spatters and Stripes embossing folders. This is the spatter folder, and we're going to glue these on to the front of our background piece. Now I should mention the background piece. This is beautiful Starry Sky, one of the new in colors, and I've embossed it using the Painted Texture embossing folder. So lots and lots of texture on this card. So I'm going to go ahead and glue my hexagons on. So my Sorbet one is going to go right down near that bottom right corner. And then we're going to add our Parakeet. Oh, now he's on my hand. I hope he doesn't bite me. I know Japanese beetles are known for biting, so I'm just going to knock him onto my grid paper as he flies around. Where were you last week? Or was it last week, 2 weeks ago, when I was doing the ladybug? Honestly, we got to coordinate our schedules here. All right, and then we're going to slide this little guy in here. And then we're going to build some cacti. So I've already gone ahead and stamped in Fussy Cut. This one is stamped in Shaded Spruce, okay? And my pot is stamped in the Orchid Oasis. Did I say Orchid Opulence earlier? Orchid Oasis. Orchid Opulence is an old Stampin' Up! Color. Orchid Oasis is this one, okay? And then I've also somewhere got some stamped and punched flowers already. These are stamped in the Tahitian Tide and punched out using the punch. So we're just going to add these little guys to the back of our cactus here and give them a second to set up before we go and glue that guy on. So we're just going to set that one aside for a minute. Okay, I've already stamped and Fussy Cut my sort of aloe vera one, but then I've got a whole bunch, look at scrap stuff from old projects and whatnot. So we're going to stamp some more. This time we're going to stamp our chubby cactus just straight up Parakeet Party. I'm not going to do any shading on this one. So I'm just going to bring in my Parakeet ink and ink this chubby guy up. And we're going to stamp him just like that. Look at that color. Oh, I love it. So fantastic. All right, so there is our chubby cactus. And then we're going to stamp a few of our little appendages here. How many do we need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need 5 appendages. Is that going to fit on there? That is not going to fit on there. Let's use this guy. So we'll go 1, 2. What else have I got? We'll use some more of this. I got scrap everywhere. This is not as skinny as I would like it to be, but that's okay. 3, 4, and 5. All right, so we can go ahead and punch these out. We also need to stamp our pot in the Sweet Sorbet. So I'm just going to give that a little bit of a rub. And this Sweet Sorbet, I thought at first it might be kind of a pinky color, but nope, it is a fabulous red. Love it. So there is our bowl, and we can go ahead and punch that guy out as well. All right, so let's get all of this out of our way and bring in our punch. So we're going to start with our bowl here. So that is that. And then we're going to punch our little mini chubby cactuses here. So 1, give that a trim. And 2, and 1 more. 3. Okay. And you have to be careful when you're doing this to gather all of your little bits that go flying out of the punch, because there are some that you want and some that you don't need. So you want to make sure you're keeping the right ones. There have been many times where I have swept the one that I actually wanted to keep off my desk and into the trash and end up digging through the garbage. Yep, happens to all of us, right? Or maybe I'm the only one. I don't know. And this guy, of course, I didn't leave enough space. So here's a little trick. When you have a punched image like this, and you haven't left yourself enough to hold on to, take another scrap, add a glue dot, stick it onto your piece to make it longer, okay? Then you can feed your piece into the punch, no problemo. All right, there's another little punching hack for you. All right, so we're gonna build our chubby cactus as soon as I find where my chubby cactus went. There it is. And again, we're just gonna kind of build up from the back. So I'm gonna add a little bit of seal here. We're gonna add 1 appendage there, 1 appendage there, add a little bit more adhesive. We're gonna build this guy and this guy. Oops, I didn't put any seal on that guy. Come on. There we go. And then I'm going to add 1 more sort of in behind here because I didn't want it to look like he had ears or pigtails or something. I didn't want it to look a little bit odd. Okay, so then we are going to add a little bit of adhesive to the back of our blue pot. This one's stamped in Tahitian Tide and Fussy Cut out. And we'll plant that guy in there. Okay, and then we need some, did I not stamp and punch some red? I thought I had. Maybe I didn't. Okay, so we need to stamp a couple of Sweet Sorbet flowers. So let's grab this and our Sweet Sorbet ink. And I'm going to do a couple of these guys. I'm just going to do them this way, even though they won't necessarily line up as well as I want them to in the punch, but that's okay. I might have to repunch that one or restamp that one. Yep, I am. That's okay. There's 1. And then we'll do another just like that. 2. Okay, these images are really quite easy to line up in the punch because you're not trying to get a nice equal white border all the way around, right? It makes it really quick and easy to punch these guys. Okay, so we're going to add a couple of glue dots to the back of our chubby cactus here to add our flower. So there's 1 and 2. And then we're just going to add our glue dots here. 1 there. Or not our glue dots, our flowers. I already added the glue dots, didn't I? There we go. There's our cute little chubby cactus. Gotta love it. Okay, so that is going to get popped and adhered to our sweet sorbet hexagon here. And I'm gonna add just a couple of mini just to make sure everything stays put. There we go. Get rid of our backings. All right, and then this one is going to pop right along the bottom of our hexagon there, just so it looks grounded. Okay. Then we have our little sort of aloe plant. That's going to get adhered to our red bowl that we stamped and punched. So it gets planted in there. A couple more dimensionals to pop it up. Put 1 mini up there. Get rid of those backings. And that one's going to be sitting in our blue hexagon. And then we have our tall and skinny cactus. And we're going to add them with a couple of dimensionals. There we go. Oh, the colors are fantastic. Yes, they really are. Okay, there we go. Is it not just like a happy party card? Like, seriously, talk about a make your day kind of card. All right, we're gonna go ahead and glue this onto our card base. This is just a plain old thick basic white card base, nothing fancy. 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored in the middle at 5 1/2. So we will crisp that up and add a little bit of adhesive to the back of our embossed panel. And add a little bit more, that was in a little bit from the edge. And pop this on, centered on our card. Okay. And then just a couple of additional touches. We're going to stamp this fun little label. So this is from a new set of dies called Fabulous Frames. And this little label is super cute and the perfect size for my little hello stamp here. So I'm going to go ahead and ink that up and stamp it in some black ink on my little label here. And then that, I'm going to add, again, a couple of dimensionals. And we're going to tuck this in behind our cactus here. So it's kind of hanging out from behind our cactus. So we'll just tuck that in there. See how far in we can get it. Yeah, we can't get it in very far because I put too many dimensionals on my cactus. So let's trim that off a bit. There we go. That's better. And then we're going to tie a little bow. So this is coordinating baker's twine. So we have in color baker's twine this year. On my sample, I used coordinating orchid opulence. This time I'm using sweet sorbet. Why? Well, because I don't have any more orchid oasis. Orchid oasis. This is going to happen for the next 2 years. I'm going to keep calling orchid oasis orchid opulence because I remember when we had orchid opulence. Does anybody remember orchid opulence as a core color? That was a long time ago. Anyway. I am out of the orchid. I'm just going to call it orchid, then be safe. I am out of the orchid twine. So the nice thing about using all 5 ink colors on your card is that you can use any color of twine and it will coordinate. So again, I'm just adding a little glue booger to add my bow. Actually, my loops need to be a teeny bit smaller there. So we'll just shrink those a little bit. Okay. And then we have these fabulous ombre matte dots. These again in color coordinating embellishments. So you'll see that we have different shades. So this is the orchid. We have different shades. This is the Tahitian tie. This is the parakeet. So I'm using the darkest one just because I wanted it to really pop with all of my fabulous bright colors on here. And that is that. So let me clean up the gong show of a mess I have going here. When you're punching, you make lots of little bitty mess. Like, I'm going to have to vacuum, I think, after this. All right, so there is card number 3. Now, I'll just quick show you on the inside of this one. I stamped a little cactus garden on the inside, again, using the same shades that I did on the front. Did I do anything on this guy? Nope, I don't think I did. No, I didn't stamp anything on the inside of this one. This one, I did another little cactus growing in there. All right, so there you go. There are 3 fun, cute, 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 bright projects using the Cactus Cuties bundle. Okay? All right. Yeah, Deb, I went through a lot of in-color twine because I'm prepping bingo swag. That's why. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you like these fun little cards, and be sure to join me next week. Not live at 5, but live launch party in prime time at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, so I will see you next week for the launch of the new annual catalog. Woohoo! For now, bye and have a great week.